Now, when you're in a new relationship, you'll all have had this experience. It's very exciting for everyone else around you. So people always ask, oh, how's it going? And it's such a difficult question to answer. Like, how are you supposed to actually describe the feeling of to attempt to use analogies? So people will say, oh, how's it going? And I would say, oh, it's like I've always been a plant, but I used to be in a garden centre or a supermarket on a shelf, and now I'm in the garden. And you can't say that to people. I've learned that. So now what happens, people go, oh, how's it going? And I say, fine. And but then my friend the other day, she said, well, you don't seem very happy. And I said, yeah, that's because I'm not with him, I'm here with you. And apparently that's very rude. And my friend really told me off. She said, actually, Sarah, it's very important that you stay in contact with your friends. But why? I've got him now. And then she said, well, what about if you break up? A failure. And that's what really concerned me. At the beginning with my boyfriend, when I realised how happy I was, I started worrying that we would break up one day because all of my previous relationships have finished. And I don't want that to happen. And what I found out is you shouldn't worry about the ending at the beginning. It ruins everything, and it's illogical. It's like giving birth to a baby dressed as the Grim Reaper. It's like turning up at a job interview and going, oh, what's the point? If you don't sack me, I'll quit. And so that's why I was thinking about other couples. I thought a lot about Adam and Eve, because they, of course, were the original couple. And yeah, sure, at the beginning, it's all magical. It's all staying up late, counting each other's ribs and laughing. But over time, the magic fades. He's boring. She's off talking to wildlife and comfort eating. And then their landlord kicks them out. One of their kids kills the other one. And if they can't make it work in paradise, what chance have I got in Lewisham?
When I was little, I wanted to be a stuntman, I wanted to be a skateboarder, an astronaut, I wanted to be in a remake of the A-Team. All I want to do now is to sit in a comfortable armchair in a darkened room and just breathe. Everything else has gone by the wayside. Well, having seen the A-Team remake, I have at least dodged one bullet, right? You know, I've learned so much from them. Until I had children, for instance, I had absolutely no idea that there is no stronger substance known to man than Weetabix and milk once it's dried. That stuff is absolutely astonishing, isn't it? It's sort of beyond Araldite, you know. Men's shoes with it, bridges, possibly. I mean, they're very keen to learn. They're always firing questions at me. Where do babies come from? Absolutely no idea, seemingly no way of stopping it, you know. Can't work out what the hell's going on down there. Honestly, I have absolutely no control over them whatsoever. In about 4 and a bit years, I've accrued, I think it's fair to say, basically no parenting skills whatsoever. They give me the total runaround. Some people say it's like herding cats. It's worth it. It's like trying to get a Hewlett-Packard printer to work. I mean, you've paid out all this money and it just doesn't do a single bloody thing that you ask it to. It's a complete nightmare. They give me the total runaround all day long. They leave me on the very brink of sanity. And it's only at the end of the day, when I could not be more shattered, more exhausted, more stressed, that is when I have to leave the house and come out to work, right? All to fund the milk-saturated lifestyle of my infant captors. You know. I mean, I would do anything for them. Of course I would. Absolutely anything. That's what being a parent is. Being a parent is essentially having Stockholm syndrome. You know, just hopelessly in love with the very people holding you hostage. I mean, I've had to change the way I live my life. Of course I have. I've had to calm down. I'm sure we can all remember the old rock and roll me. Have had children, they look at them sometimes and go, God, they've really changed, haven't they? They've really mellowed. They haven't mellowed, they are broken. Oh, he's really calmed down, hasn't he? He used to be so ambitious. He's much calmer now. That's relief. Of course he's not ambitious anymore. There's simply no point in being ambitious anymore. What is the point of dreaming about Hollywood if you can't even finish your bloody muesli before lunchtime? It is not possible to finish your muesli before lunchtime now because the entire morning just consists of being interrupted. When you've got that many young children charging about the place, you get interrupted so often that eventually the interruptions themselves start getting interrupted. You know, desperately trying to clean all the milk off the floor after breakfast, or the food that hits it at lunchtime doesn't splash, and then someone opens up the freezer and gets a bag of peas out and starts spilling them all over the floor, you know, desperately trying to sweep them up, and then someone ominously shouts, "I'm painting," from the hallway. You know. Run out there, find they've got hold of a loo brush and are just rubbing it against the walls. It is 5:45 in the morning. Well, ladies and gentlemen, haven't I got myself worked up into yet another state? I do wonder, actually, in retrospect, if I haven't slightly underplayed the work that our nanny does.
Somewhere on this train is a nice little Spanish family. Nice little Spanish family. Come to Europe on their summer holidays, haven't they? Because they've seen the Olympics. Yeah, let's go to London, because we told them, didn't we? Oh, come to London. We all wear matching tracksuits and we help each other. Do come, do come. Now they're seeing the truth. This is London now. They're on this train terrified, and they booked the tickets ages ago, didn't they? And gave them to the kids at Christmas. Here you go, Javier. Here is your Christmas present. Perfectly serviceable Spanish accent. I ain't changing it. Just because you are frightened by performance. You've put me out of character now. Hang on, I need to get back in. Nachos. Right, I'm back. Don't let me lose the rhythm. Don't let me lose the rhythm. Here you go, Javier. Here is your Christmas present. Oh, what is it? I'll tell you when I stop laughing at your voice. This summer, we're going on our holidays to London Town! London Town! That's right, London Town. But when we get there, please don't speak out loud because people will laugh in your face. London Town! London 2012 Olympic London! London 2012 Olympic London, but we're going there in 2013 because it's cheaper. Book us an apartment. It's on the edge of the city, so every day we wake up, we have some breakfast, we get the train into town, we go to Buckingham Palace, we watch a show, you can stay up late every night, and we get the last train back to the apartment in the city of London. Fucking don't sweat. They're on this train now, seeing for the first time what London is really like. And they're going to go back, aren't they? And their friends are going to say, "Hey, how was your holiday in London?" They're going to say, "Let me tell you something about London. You get the train in London, Jesus Christ. You get the train in London, everybody she's puking and shitting and crying. Come out.
But the doctor did get quite worried about me. He was like, "Aisling, you're going to have to get out of the house during the day." And I was like, "Doc, I'd love to, but my naps are not going to take themselves." Soz. But my mother was equally worried. She was like, "Aisling, just try and get out of the house and maybe do some exercise. Build up your strength and your muscle. Do a bit of exercise." But I actually find it highly offensive that my mother would suggest that I do exercise, because she knows that I actually suffer from a terrible disability which prevents me from doing any exercise, which is where I can't be arsed. I can't be arsed. I really just can't be arsed. I just kind of can't be. And I would love to be arsed. I would love to be one of those people who's naturally arsed to do things, but I just sort of can't be. And I mean, my disability affects me in so many ways. My ability to clean the bottom of the dustbin, ring my aunties back at Christmas. I would love to, but I just sort of can't be arsed too. unfortunately. I mean, I just don't like moving too much. I would sort of rather sit on the couch and waste away than move. I don't really like moving too much. I don't even listen to sad music in case I'll be moved. That's just sort of rather. And I think the reason that I don't like exercise is because the school I went to didn't have much money. So the sports facilities weren't great. And so a lot of the sort of sport and exercise we used to do used to leave us really pregnant, really pregnant. So the habit's just not there. It really isn't. And I would love to be into exercise and stuff, but I just can't be arsed, I'll be honest. And you know, I did get tricked into going to Pilates class because I thought it was pronounced pilots. I was there for about 15 minutes going, I wonder when they're going to let us fly the planes. My friend Brona suggested that I do something social, like ping pong table tennis. The ball moves too fast. I can never see it. To me, ping pong just looks like two perverts spanking a ghost. Just don't understand it. My flatmate Steph is American. She's American and she's always doing this thing called running. Running. Has anyone here ever heard of running? For those of you who don't know what running is, it's something that you would naturally do only when you're being chased. And I don't understand it. Steph is always just going for a run. She's always just going for a run. Unless I'm being chased by something terrible, there's no natural panic in my legs that makes me want to go any faster than this. A sort of whimsical saunter. That's kind of grand by me. But Steph's always just heading out the door, going for a run. Hey, I'm just gonna go for a run, go for a run. I'm just gonna go for a run. Steph gets such a buzz out of going for a run that 2 days later, she'll do it again.
No, but I still have fond memories. Being a teen, sat around with my mates, throwing topics at each other to do like freestyle rhymes about, you know, and if anyone would offer, like maybe suggest police, the P word, yeah. Guaranteed someone to jump up like, yo! No, check this out, yo! Yo, I just wanna live my life, but feds keep watching me. Yeah. Every second, man, police are clocking me. So many times I get this in a day. Somebody tell me why they discriminate. I'm on my way to a weed sale. Got the drugs in the car by the knife, no seatbelt. Yeah. No wing mirror, no license. And my nephew taught me how to drive this. Cocaine and a big glass of rum too. Shoot my gun in the air through the sunroof. Oh man, I don't believe this. Prejudiced policeman, what's the reason? Yo. And it's an awkward moment, right? It's an awkward moment in that room, you know, because, you know, I'm amongst friends here. And they're looking at me for some kind of response, you know, I don't know what to say. So I'm stood there like an idiot going, yeah, bro. Bloody police. Clamping down on illegal activity.
I've been with my fella now for nearly 10 years, but you know when you first get together with somebody, the first 6 months, especially if you have an inkling it might be a long-term thing, and those first 6 months together are just glorious, aren't they? And you think each other are perfect. And then after 6 months you think, well, perfect's pushing it a bit. There's a couple of things I could do with changing. Then you've got a project. Isn't it lovely having a project? There's only one thing I'd like to change about my fella. I need to tell you this first. I love waving. I don't know why. I've always loved waving. I love it when I wave, and I love it when people wave back to me. I'm going to wave to you now and see how many of you wave back. Oh, loads of you are. Thank you very much. It makes me really happy. And it's one of the main reasons I learned to drive. My fella doesn't wave. Doesn't occur to him in the slightest. Now, when we first got together, he dropped me off at the train station one day, and I got out the car, and I said, I'll see you on Monday. He said, yeah, but I'll give you a ring when I get in tonight. I said, smashing. And then I just checked that I was at the right entrance for the train station for my particular platform, and I turned to give him a little wave goodbye, and the car was already in the distance. A few years later, I was going to Australia for the first time. I was travelling alone. I was going to be away for 6 weeks. I was very nervous, understandably. He dropped me off at the airport. He helped me out of the boot. With my case, sorry, that's bad. With my case. And I said, I'm going to miss you. And he said, I'm going to miss you too, but he said, you're going to have an amazing time. We can Skype whenever you like, and I'll come and get you in 6 weeks on this very spot. Melt. And I checked my handbag to make sure I had my passport and my ticket. And then I turned to give him a little wave goodbye, and I could not see the car. He was already on the motorway. So I said to him only a few weeks ago, you know the waving thing? He said, oh, did I forget to do it again? I'm sorry. I said, don't worry about it. But I said, you know how much I love it? He said, yes, I know how much you love to wave. I said, I was just wondering if there was like a bargaining thing we could do. He said, I don't know what you mean. I said, well, for example, is there anything I don't do that you'd like me to start doing? Turns out I'm not as bothered about waving as I thought.
Weird, isn't it? The more technologically advanced our forms of communication get, the more pointless the subject matter seems to be. When you think about it, you would never tweet someone something important or relevant, would you? You would never tweet someone to inform them of a death in the family. Be a bit harsh. Dad's dead, hashtag fail. I was on Twitter once, right? I know it's largely pointless, and this story sums it up, right? I was on Twitter once, and I thought I'd invented a new breakfast. This is what I did. I took a photo of it, and I sent it out, because that's what you got to do. That's the rule. You got food, you take a photo, you send it out. Well, that didn't happen, right? I've made this invention, this breakfast, and I thought, I wonder if anyone out there has had this. Now, if you are going to take a photo of some food and claim to have invented a new food, research it first before you put it on the internet, because they will let you know quickly if they're not happy with it. This is what I did. I got 2 bits of brown bread, and I toasted them. Put them on a plate, forming the basis of 2 breakfast towers. I started building thusly. Beans, beans, cheese, cheese. So far, so standard. Curveball, fried egg, fried egg. All right, fair enough. I'm now fully aware I hadn't invented anything, right? But I knew I hadn't changed the world. I knew I hadn't cured a disease. But I thought, has anyone out there in the world of Twitter had these things in this order? Turns out, a lot of angry people had. A lot of angry people. I got hundreds of replies, abuse all day. I've got my top 3 favourite replies here. I'm over it, but I carry them around in my pocket. In at number 3, all capital letters, bean-eating prick. I mean, I'm a human being. Is there any need? It's always nice to hear from a fan, though. In at number 2, a teenage girl wrote, you haven't invented anything. I have that every week, but without the cheese. No, you don't then. That's the whole point in an invention. I have that every week, but it's fudge. Well... In at number 1, this sums up the internet, this reply. This came in straight away. Straight away, it was the first reply. The anger, the fury, the immediacy of it. All capitals. Eggs should have been poached!
She said, I can tell you what your spirit animal is, Joe. It's a walrus. Well, what do I do with this information, Janet? This is useless. And she said, walrus will talk to you and tell you to do things, and you should listen to that inner voice, to that inner walrus. I shouldn't listen to my inner voice, because it is normally things like, kick that toddler, just a stream of unacceptable things. But she kept saying, listen to the voice. And then she said, I do normally charge for this service. It is normally £30, but as we're at a party, I do it for half price, I do it for 15. I was like, walrus? Couldn't possibly kill another prostitute. You know, silly things. But I've noticed that Walrus comes out with real jobs worths. I don't know if you have this in London. In Birmingham, we have an app where you can pay for parking on the app and you don't have to buy a ticket. I tried it for the first time. You put a location code in, put the code in, went into a nearby coffee shop, had just got my coffee, and a parking enforcement officer was next to my car. That's what they call themselves, with his little computer with a pen on a string in case I drop it. Dickhead. I was putting my details in, so I went out to him. I said, I've paid for parking. Look, I've got a receipt on my phone. It was 8 minutes ago. And he looked at it and he went, no, this location code is for Leeds. And I said, well, I've clearly just made a mistake, haven't I? And he went, well, I don't know that, do I? I was like, yes, you do. Because if I'm lying, then what you're suggesting I've done is parked in Leeds and then driven 120 miles in 8 minutes. That's what you're suggesting I've done. I've put it into the computer now. You'll have to complain at the office. It's only 5 minutes down the road. Actually, it's about 3 seconds in my hypercar. Got to the office, met sweaty Sharon. Oh, my God. It was so hot in that office. She looked like a bit of wet scrambled egg in a chair, just so annoyed with life. And she had a thick Brummie accent as well. She was talking to somebody in the back office when I went in. She was going, is that you making me a cup of tea, Steve? And then she looked at me and went, the day I hear Steve making me a cup of tea is the day I hear a rocking horse do a plop. That's the weirdest imagery I've ever heard, for a start. And I explained the situation to her, gave her the phone and everything. And she looked at the phone, looked at her computer, back at the phone, and she went, this says Leeds. I know, Sharon, I put the wrong code in. Well, you'll have to complain at the Leeds office. I've not been in Leeds, Sharon. She looks again and she's like, but how did you get here so quickly? You would have had to break the speed limit. I would have had to break the speed of sound, Sharon. So annoyed, so annoyed. I said, is there anyone else I can talk to about this? She said, you could speak to Steve over there. I decided not to speak to Steve for a number of reasons. The main one being, he was trying to eat a yoghurt with a pen lid. I just didn't feel like he was competent. You get a sense sometimes, don't you? So in the end, I just had to leave, kept the fine, paid it, still got it to this day. And after I'd left, Walrus was like, you idiot. You could have done anything in there. You could have killed her. Got the perfect alibi. Where were you when the murder happened?
The referendum up in Scotland that was won by the No campaign and Alistair Darling. I thought it'd be good if when he won, Alistair Darling's eyebrows had finally turned into butterflies. And he wasn't even able to look surprised about it. David Beckham sent the people of Scotland an open letter because he couldn't work out how to get it into the envelope. People said during the campaign that I was anti-English. I couldn't be more pro-English. I thought the best thing for independence would have been if England had won the World Cup, because you would have been so unbearable that we would have to leave. Whatever happens next, I think it's important that Scotland does something that puts England on the back foot, something that England won't expect. And the last thing that you're expecting is for us to form an Islamic caliphate. Ah, yes, independent Scotland, we can do this. OK, we'll have to learn how to keep up. Ed Miliband came up for the referendum. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, I don't think Ed Miliband will win the election. Because if he can't persuade his own face to do what he tells it to. Ed Miliband said he wanted to militarise the Scottish border. Can you imagine being a Scottish border guard, having to do cavity searches just to keep your hands warm? Holding back the English refugees at Newcastle. Newcastle being the first city in history that turned into a refugee camp and got less mental. Oh, things are actually a lot more civilised now that we're ruled over by a horse militia. Do you know what people in Scotland want? What they really want, in my experience, is they want transport to run normally in the winter through 3 feet of snow. That's all they ever moan about. Why isn't this train moving through the snow? But what you really want is for the pilot to come over the intercom and go, well, I've been told that it's not safe to take off, but I thought, let's give it a go.
You know, my favourite food is canapés. Oh, I love canapés. Canapés is the French word for hors d'oeuvres. Love canapés. But the only problem with canapés is you only get them at parties, right? And they're almost counterproductive to the party atmosphere. Because the whole idea of a party is you're supposed to be mingling and meeting people. Hello, how are you? But you can't concentrate if there's canapés in the room. Those silver trays of treats being taken around. I mean, you're in a conversation because you have to be. Oh, yes, that's interesting. Oh, he's 5 now, is he? That's fascinating. Hey. Oh, they're new. Huh, sorry? Because you've always got to keep one eye on the canapés, haven't you? Because you don't want to miss your turn. Oh, that's a horrible feeling when you're talking to some prick about schools. Yeah, public or private, that's the thing, isn't it? Oh, shut up! That's the mini beef Wellingtons. We've just... Because you bloody... Shut up when the canapés arrive, you prick. That's the bit, they're the best ones. Mini beef Wellingtons. Just shut up when the canapés arrive. It's the only reason we're here. I don't give a shit what school your kid goes to. Some mini beef Wellingtons. Gone. Because you can't chase a canapé. Can't do that undignified walk, you know, that's... Sorry, he was talking, so I missed... Can I just get the... Can I just get the... That's the rules. You can't wait for canapés. You can't just stand there at a party like that. You can't. Yeah, good. On you go. You've got to pretend to be in a conversation. And yes, that's very... Oh, she's 11 now. Well, that is... Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know there was going to be food. Did you know there was going to be food? I had no idea there's food. Look at that. That's great, isn't it? Food. Oh, what a lovely surprise. You're not surprised. You've been tracking the bloody thing for 20 minutes. You know every stop it's made. You know how many have been taken. You're making the mental calculations in your head, right? Oh, that's right. OK, we should be all right with the sausage rolls. They've just come out. I'm not so sure about the vol au vents and the quiche. This guy's been really greedy, this guy. Stop. Honestly, I bet he better not eat too many of those quiche. And then we obviously missed the mini beef Wellingtons because you knew. But we're going to be all right with the ham and the cheese, and here they come now. So anyway, school. Oh!